What is a PDCA/Deming cycle? I'm going to explain this concept and how central it is. I know we hear about this all the time, but it's more key and more lean than we actually have previously probably thought. So how do you use the PDCA cycle? And actually in this video tied to construction, how can we use it with crews and foremen to improve their work? That's what we're going to cover right now. So the PDCA, or Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle, which is also known as the Deming cycle, is a four-step iterative management approach used for continuous improvement. It was developed by Dr. W. Edwards Deming, a quality management expert, I would say world-renowned quality management expert. And so let me go ahead and take you through all four of these: Plan, Do, Check, Act, or you may have heard Plan, Do, Check, Adjust. So let's first cover the plan part of this. You have to know the problem that you're attempting to solve, or what you're trying to do. What is the goal? What is the problem? What is the opportunity? And you'll follow these steps. Number one, define the problem or the goal. Number two, gather relevant information and documentation. 3, analyze the root causes of the problem. 4, develop potential solutions. And 5, once you have established a plan, develop success criteria that will help you to know whether or not it was successful. Let's get into the do category. Obviously, once a plan is established, you will want to go execute. These steps include 1 through 3. Number 1, go ahead and execute the plan as described. Number 2, implement small changes as you go, as you implement, so that you can correct and adjust and you can minimize risks. And number 3, document any deviations from the process and the results for the measurements and KPIs and outcome that you wanted. The third major step is check. This is where you're going to evaluate if your plan actually worked. Number 1, you will check the actual outcomes with the expected outcomes. Number 2, assess the data and make sure that the outcome targets were actually met from a data standpoint. And number 3, analyze any gaps or discrepancies from the results that you got. And then the fourth major step is act. Based on the findings from the check phase, you'll take appropriate steps to standardize the things that worked and to improve the things that didn't. This process will include, number 1, standardizing successful changes and updating any policies or procedures or rules within the company or the team, implementing any corrective actions to address the gaps or discrepancies, adjusting the improvement plan based on what you have learned, and communicating the results to stakeholders. And that's why we constantly say plan, do, check, adjust. So plan the work, do the work, check it to make sure that you met the outcome or the objective, and then adjust any discrepancies or failures within that process. You can adjust in the next piece. So now let me tell you the most important part of this. Just like the most important part of our YouTube channel is gaining a following with subscribers, which I want to thank you for, the most important part of the PDCA cycle is to actually have the right piece to plan, do, check, and adjust. Now this is a really complicated concept, okay? Because in one aspect you can say, all right, let's take a car. That's the piece. Let's go plan the car, do the car, and check to see if we built the car right and adjust from there. But that's a large piece. What if you broke it out by stations along the line and said, well, hey, the installation of this door. Let's plan the installation of this door. Let's do that. Let's check to see if we've met the requirements, and then let's adjust from there. Smaller pieces can give you faster improvements. Now let's look at construction. You can say, hey, there's this building. Let's plan it. Let's do it. Let's check whether or not we won, and let's adjust from there. And most contractors do that. They like to say, well, let's do an evaluation of our trade partners. Let's do a reflection on the project, see what we liked or we didn't like. Let's ask the owner. Let's get feedback, right? For the whole project, we'll do the PDCA cycle. But you know what's even better is doing the PDCA cycle for smaller components. For instance, like a zone or a specific scope within a zone. Like, let's get these pieces that we're evaluating smaller. The other thing is it's hard to understand when you should batch and when you should one piece flow. Like, I'll give you a for instance. Like if I said, hey, if you take 20 envelopes, right, and you want to put them together really fast, what's faster? Like taking all 20 of the envelopes and then folding all the papers all at once and then stuffing them all at once and then licking them, which is super gross, all at once, and then putting a stamp all at once, most people would say that that's faster. It's actually not, right? The faster approach is to fold the paper, stuff it, lick it, and then put the stamp on it one at a time. So this concept of one-piece flow can be kind of difficult, but you just have to find out what is your piece. So again, smaller pieces, and pieces will typically not show up as batches. They'll typically show up as processes. Fold the paper, stuff it, lick it, stamp it. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the process. That's going to be your piece, right? That's why sometimes I call it one process flow. And it will not show up as the 1, 1, 1, all the first steps of the process, then 2, 2, 2, and then all the second steps in the processes. We typically will not batch like that. So if you know your piece, now we can use the Deming cycle, PDCA, to plan, do, check, and adjust in each of these segments. So I promised you that I would talk to you about how it's the central theme. Everything in Lean somehow ties back to one piece flow or one process flow. And I always say plan, build, finish, plan, build, finish, plan, build, finish. But that's built off of the PDCA Deming cycle. Plan the work, do the work, and then check to make sure that it's right and that you did it right and that the process or the work actually met the success criteria, and then adjust from there. So this is what I'm trying to say, is that if a crew is gonna, let's say, install overhead duct in one zone. So let's say it's a 4,500 square foot zone, totally fine, okay? They're going to plan that with the crew visually, safety, quality, installation methods, means and methods, right? They're gonna get on the same page, fill out their pre-task plan for safety, fill out their quality documentation, and communicate to the team. Appoint a leader, gather information, make a plan, and communicate that plan. Then they as a crew are going to go do that work and install according to the plan. When they're done, they're going to check, and they're going to say, did we finish on time? Was it good? Did we have any wastes? Is there anything we could do better? Anything we could do to make it more enjoyable? Are we finished? So they'll adjust with that, meaning that the next zone that they do, the next scope in a zone that they do will be even better because they took the time to stop, hopefully in a little bit of a buffer within their duration, to check with the workers to make sure it's right. And in fact, I love this concept so much, we have pivoted to it, Elevate Construction and Lean Tact, creating crew boards where their current zone is shown in the middle, but they also have the last zone, their current zone, and the next zone, so they can always plan, build, finish, plan, build, finish, or plan, do, check, act, plan, do, check, adjust. That is one piece flow, one process flow. You will go so much faster if you follow that. All you have to do is follow the Deming cycle or the PDCA method. So I hope you love this just as much as I do. Everything really comes down to that. Even if I'm going to go camping, plan it, do it, check it, finish it when I'm done, and see if I want to do something better next time. When you get into this habit, you're going to be like Paul Aker style the whole way. You're going to be improving everything around you. Your desktop, your office, your work, your truck, everything, your home, your mindset, your everything, because you're always checking and adjusting. I love this topic. In the description below, I'll give you my contact information if you want to check out those crew boards, and I will give you a beautifully formatted visual for the PDCA cycle that you can use yourself when doing work. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.